Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi everybody, welcome to New Life Live. So glad you're with us today, and with me, joining me, Dr. Alice Benton. Hi Alice, how are you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
That's it.
Happy birthday, dear Steve. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I thank you so much. And you know, Paul McCartney and I. Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate that. Yes, it is my birthday, and I really feel like I haven't made it a big enough deal about it this year. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for that. I'm just so grateful to be alive. One more year to celebrate. And, you know, this has been quite a 6 months for New Life. We've really done things we've never done before, and it's been as weird as it is, we've seen some great blessings here, and so this is one of the better years of my life. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. I know some of you've been struggling. It hasn't been all that great a year for you, and all of us have struggled to one degree or another in the whole virus thing, and you've lost and stuff like that. And so if you need some help, don't feel bad. Like maybe you've never needed help before, but you do now. Don't feel bad. Let us help you at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could watch us on Facebook Live at any time. I'm going to go right to the phones. I'm not going to delay because I have a ton of calls lined up right there. And the first caller I'm going to go to is Lisa, Baltimore, and she watches us on YouTube. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Steve. This is Lisa calling from Baltimore, Maryland. And by God's grace, I found the Life Recovery Bible many years ago. I suffered from binge eating disorder, and I was a very low-bottom food addict for many, many years. Struggled, choked, just about, perforated my esophagus, the whole 9 yards. I'm also an Al-Anon, and I work my programs vigorously to stay sober by God's grace alone. But I'm also involved in some faith-based recovery programs, and I'm very frustrated, and maybe you could shed some light on it for me. In my secular recovery, entire abstinence is non-negotiable. Entire abstinence is something Dr. Silkworth talked about in the big book, and we don't hear about it. I find in faith-based recovery, it's almost like, I don't want to say that we expect God to sprinkle pixie dust on us, but, there is no real talk about putting the plug in the jug and working the steps. And it's very frustrating to me because I know that I've been saved. I have a one-day stay of execution based on doing the work in the book, and I don't see that in my faith-based recoveries. And could you help me be a little more understanding?
Lisa? Yeah. Lisa, I literally have never heard this before because I know of a specific life recovery group that would join me and you. I've just never known anybody that would say anything other than you have to stop drinking all together. When it comes to every man's battle and the use of life recovery after that, no one's thinking you can socially use pornography or whatever. So I haven't heard this message, and when we come back from the break, maybe you could be a little more specific about an example or two of what you have heard, a message here, because we do believe, I believe, and it's right there in the material, that we have to eliminate the crummy stuff for that good stuff to come in.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, June 20th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Well, we'll see. All right. So, Lisa, one of the questions at the break was, were you just talking about food, or were you talking about food, alcohol, sex, everything? What is, be specific with this so we can get some insight here.
Well, my husband participates in my church recovery group, and yes, he's dealt with pornography, and they say don't look at it, you know. But we've also had one person succumb to opioid addiction while coming in and out of the rooms, and sometimes I think we love people to death in recovery groups in church because we're afraid to tell them the hard truth about the addiction. And you know, there is a fact that, you know, then in the natural world, these things will kill us. And I just get so frustrated because I don't have a life recovery Bible study in my area, but there are other Christian recovery groups. And I just, I think they've tried to reinvent the wheel by taking the 12 steps and changing them around. And I appreciate that life recovery sticks to the biblical mandates from God, but, you know, what do? I feel helpless.
Well, you know, here's an idea. I don't know if you and your husband be open to it. Sounds like you have an old Life Recovery Bible, and in the second edition, Misty, my wife, who facilitates groups, she wrote different things about how to conduct a meeting, just exactly what to say and all of that. And I don't know if it's possible, but if you could be open to maybe starting a little tiny life recovery group in your church, it could really make a big difference there. And I feel badly when I hear about somebody, I mean, the 12 steps are so rooted in Scripture. It's so clear that we must never be an accomplice for any reason for somebody continuing to use something that's harmful. Don't enable, don't do anything other than to, if you need to confront, you confront. That proverb, when you wink at wrong, you cause trouble, but an open rebuke brings lasting peace. I mean, whatever it is, when the Bible says cut off your hand if that's offending you, it's not saying cut the hand off. It's really saying get out of your life whatever it is that is causing you trouble. So I think some of these groups, it sounds like locally with you, may need a few more Al-Anon meetings or some study on codependency if they're enabling somebody to just kind of, you know, keep going along. Now, I know this, that I want every person in every group to feel accepted, and we don't want a bunch of cross-talk where we're telling people what to do. But I'll tell you this, if somebody is in one of my wife's groups and they're intoxicated, that is going to be dealt with, and that's going to be dealt with right up front with grace, love, and some direction after that meeting. So I really hope that you could either find a leader or you guys step up and do it yourself. And I'll just ask Milan and Alice if they have a comment that they'd like to make.
You know, this is a confusing area because abstinence is something that applies for a lot of abuse and addictions and abusive things that we get in trouble with. Food is one of those things, and I just think it deserves some discussion here because you talked about binge eating. Food is something that we can't abstain from. We have to learn balances. And I think the whole discussion of addiction recovery has to include the discussion of balance in all aspects of our lives, including relationship, et cetera, et cetera. But I appreciate your question. I think it can be confusing. I think you can get different answers from different groups, and I'm not sure that that problem will ever be solved unless we do what Steve just said. Start your own group that reemphasizes something you think is important.
Alice, you have a comment here?
I would say,
Lisa, the only addition I have for you is that as I'm thinking about the biblical mandate of when we have a problem with someone, especially if we think they're sinning, in the message that they're giving to a group, which could be very detrimental to the whole group. Your group lost someone to opiates, possibly because of a message of tolerating too much, tolerating continued substance use. Just encourage you to bring it to them personally and privately on your own. And then the second time, if nothing happens, to bring that witness along with you to address the person still giving this harmful message. And then I completely agree with the fellas that if it continues, then you probably do have to start your own group to keep the message clear and clean. And thank you for fighting for abstinence and for freedom for your people there.
So I want you to hold on, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a brand new, I'll send one for you, one for your husband, the second edition of Life Recovery. They published that at the 3 millionth copy level. It's just incredible how many people have benefited from that particular Bible. So hold on, I'll get that to you. And now let's go over here. And how about we talk with Annie from Philadelphia? She listens on a podcast, and we're glad she does. Hi, Annie. How are you?
Hi there. Thank you. Happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
My question is for my daughter, and what type of counseling you'd recommend, or if we should start with a brain scan. May I give you a little background?
Yes, and I'll let Alice and Milan answer you directly. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. She's 30 years old, an only child, and she grew up witnessing physical abuse to me from her dad, who is a minister and has a sex addiction, but is very engaged as a father. He divorced me when she was a teen, and we both remarried, and she was exceptionally resilient and nice to all four parents, but she struggled with anorexia. In college, she had a psychotic break and was diagnosed as bipolar and schizophrenic with PTSD, and she's still on medications for all that. Later, she married a Christian man who was previously addicted to porn and occasionally exploded at her in anger. So she stopped living with him, and he divorced her in a very shameful, hostile manner, which left her re-traumatized. And now she's living with me and my husband, who is unfortunately an alcoholic and hostile at times. And she's functioning pretty well, working full-time, exercise, eating healthy, but she struggles daily with extreme insecurity, paranoia about what people think of her, self-contempt, self-doubt, depression, and some suicidal thoughts. At times, she lashes out at me in anger and jealousy, but at the same time, she is highly emotionally dependent on me. So, and her dad is divorced again, and often wants, yeah.
And Annie, what kind of structured help is your daughter getting now?
Nothing. She's still on medications, and she just sees a psychiatrist like once every several months.
Why isn't she receiving therapy?
She has been to see a counselor occasionally, here and there, and it hasn't been effective because I think we haven't just gotten the right one, and she doesn't initiate conversations well. She can't articulate what she's been through. She really struggles to express herself, and she strives to protect and please others and evaluates her performance at the session. So we know that she needs counseling, but we just haven't been able to find the right one.
Annie, a couple of characteristics of a good fit therapist come to mind for me. This is kind of my best guess, given what you have told us. I think it would work best to have a counselor who is very skilled in trauma, but also in family substance use, particularly with what you and your daughter are still going through with your current husband's alcoholism, so that a counselor who is skilled with boundaries, with setting and maintaining boundaries, who's proactive and very directive in therapy, I think is what your daughter will need. If you have a counselor that sort of sits back and lets your daughter do most of the talking and lets her direct the session, I don't think she'll get enough out of it. And so this is tough because you have to do a lot of shopping around at times to find a good therapist, and you have to be very persistent, because so much time can easily go by without having the direction of a therapist. If the last one didn't work out, and your daughter might be dragging her feet a little bit to get into this. But New Life's network of counselors is such a good place to find a therapist that would have those skills that I've already described, as well as the Christian component. I don't doubt that there's warfare with the enemy going on, of the generational warfare that has happened with addiction and sexual immorality. And so let us help you find a good counselor with all those characteristics that could serve your daughter's needs well. And I would hope for you that you'd get involved in Al-Anon as a support to your daughter, but also as protection for yourself with what you're going through with your own husband.
I have to believe that all of this starts to change. Let me just say this real briefly. I have to believe that everything would change if you did what needed to be done to deal with your husband's alcoholism. Every man that is in her life is just continuing with the problem that he has. Mm-hmm. And for her to be in the home and to see what your husband is doing must be a re-traumatizing of her. And so I know this is not what you want to hear. I mean, surely not. But I really believe the key here is her seeing you be different, and then that motivates her to be different. Why would she want to be different if different just keeps you involved with a sick guy where there's no hope, who may lash out in anger at any moment, and then as a woman you're supposed to act like this is okay and I'm just going to sit here and take it? And I just, oh my goodness, I can't, I'm begging you kind of to go to Al-Anon and to get involved in your own counseling for codependency, enabling, all these things, so that you become the person that marches out of this despair with men, and she sees that. I think it'll change everything for her. I really do. Now let me send you a wonderful book, and I hope that it's going to help you. It's Take Your Life Back. And in there, it talks about needing to be the decider for your life, the developer of good things, but the defender of your value. And that's what she needs to see. When she sees you value yourself enough to not live in a home where a man gets drunk whenever he wants to and lashes out in anger, when she sees you are not going to take that and you do the tough things in response to that, I think life could become very, very different for her. Milan, any thoughts about that as right before we go to break here?
Well, this daughter is under a tremendous amount of tension because she grew up as an MK, a minister's kid, okay? And so there's facades that need to be maintained in a home like that. And so the pressure to keep everybody happy, to look good, et cetera, eventually that breaks. And number one, of course, you come to the end of yourself. You can't hold that up anymore. It weighs too much. So thought number one, she's under a tremendous amount of pressure, just the entire family system, and Alice and Steve have already spoken of that. Number two, she has a lot of trauma in her life. She has a high, what we call a high A score, adverse childhood experiences. And so to Alice's point, have to be with a trauma therapist. And then lastly, I agree, Steve, you have to start cleaning house right now and doing something different so the daughter gets to see and visualize and have that modeled for her, that we're not going to just stay here anymore and have all this pressure. So couldn't agree with the two of you more.
All right, boy, I tell you, we simply have to do the hard stuff. We never want to be an accomplice to the destruction of another person's life or an accomplice to anything that is evil in this world. And anyone lashing out that's abusive, that is never, ever an acceptable thing. We'll take a break. We'll come right back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here. Let's go right over and talk with Janice from Louisville. She watches or listens on a podcast. Hi there, Janice. How are you today, and how could we help?
I am fine, and I wanted to wish you a happy birthday also, Steve. And thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So I called. I've had a nagging sense of for a lot of my life, in fact, and I wanted to know if you all had would be able to give me some insight. I have a hard time being able to feel, mostly positive feelings. I've had a lot of pain. I don't have any trouble feeling that, or anger or frustration, but I do struggle feeling joy, peace, and even though right now I have very little to complain of, other than I have a stressful job. I refer to the call screener. I refer to being a nurse with lots of stress on occasion. And so that has been a journey in itself. But I'd really like to talk about how to feel joy. And so I wondered if maybe you all could give me some insight.
Janice, what are the sad things that have happened in your life that you have not been able to grieve well?
Well, I remember Milan just referred to the ACE scores, those adverse childhood experiences. My sisters and I have had many of those. Our parents, maybe our mom, maybe had borderline personality disorder or was narcissistic. Our dad seems to be that same way. They had a very stressful relationship. There was lots of arguing in the home. They eventually divorced, and so that's a start.
I wonder if it's tough for you to feel joy because it wasn't safe to feel joy in your household, that you probably had to be on high alert so much of the time. Maybe you were even punished for the times that you did feel joy. And so your body has become accustomed to avoiding that which was dangerous in your family of origin. Could that fit for you?
Well, yes. In fact, I have two sisters, and of my three sisters, I was the one that was, I don't know if you want to call the black sheep. I was the one that reacted most. One of my sisters is passive. The other, my mother always seemed to feel sorry for, so she made a lot of excuses. It was always, I personally was always the one to kind of try to help things be smooth. My mother complained that I felt I was always too sensitive, that I reacted more than the others, that kind of thing. So it was always a source of embarrassment for me just to even be expressing, I don't know, reaction to things that I experienced or that I didn't like that was happening. And
So you were probably taught that your reactions were wrong, that you had to suppress what you were feeling because it didn't fit with what your parents were able to handle. They overreacted, and that probably taught you to hold back what you were truly feeling. I think a real key to recovering your joy or finding your joy would be telling the stories of what you have lived through, especially the particularly darker stories that you have lived through, and allowing your emotions to come to the surface as you tell the story. And I think you'll need a skilled clinician who will be able to draw you into safety first, and then help draw those emotions to the surface that you haven't been able to access, or they've come out sideways. And through expressing the anger and then feeling the grief is where I think the joy will then be unleashed in your life after you've gone through that process.
Yeah, so I have a question.
I am really glad that... Okay. Well, go ahead. What? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Very well. I've cried a lot with him. Another that did the cognitive behavior therapy, that I think he was anxious for me to just move on. And I'm not... I gained a lot of insight as to what was troubling in my past. Or
we missed something you said. Who just wanted you to move on?
My second therapist, the guy that was focused on cognitive behavior therapy, he wanted me, I think, to feel better faster.
So that concerns me, because of this process cannot be hurried. And you may have to repeat the telling of the stories and actually really slow the process down to allow yourself access to the feelings by things like somatic sensing, things like body scans in the process of telling your story. It's actually a slow process, and that allows you to reconnect with the underlying emotions. Get back into trauma work.
There is hard work to be done when we can't access the good things in life, and it just wears us down. And so you really do have to stop and rethink, what have I done? How could it have been done differently? And you know, maybe the therapist just took the wrong approach. So I want to try to get you some help a different kind of help that maybe could open up some doors. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need some help, please let us help.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop can be a trip to the Sexual Addiction Emergency Room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle Workshop will be held online Saturday, June 27th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relieved.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the Transformation Welcome Gift, which includes a personal-sized Life Recovery Bible, a Life Recovery Journal, and 5 Life Recovery Workbooks. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us here today, and I hope and pray if you haven't ever tuned in at 5 Eastern Time, Facebook Live, talking about narcissism, you would do that. And I also hope that if you've never been to our Hope for a Woman's Heart, which is Restore. If you've never been to Restore, it's the thing to do if you've been struggling with someone with a sexual integrity problem. Please go there. All right.
Hey, Steve.
Anything else you guys want to add to a previous caller? Yes, Larry. What's up?
Well, you're mentioning Restore. I've got a testimony. You mind if I read that and do my little plug?
No, please do.
Okay. This is a gal that went. She said, before coming to the workshop, I felt like I was on a roller coaster, one day up, one day down. I had no confidence in standing for what I think should be. Everything was a secret. I was incredibly burdened, carrying my husband's issues, covering for and protecting him. It was exhausting, depressing, and debilitating. This weekend was miraculous, truly. It's given me tools, hope, and connection. It's been a game changer. I'm returning home stronger and determined. I'm leaving the workshop with a network of sisters and the confidence that I deserve to work on me. If you're struggling with your husband's sexual infidelity, don't hesitate to come to this workshop. Jump in. Though it's been scary, it's the most amazing experience of my life.
Wow.
So that's why we do what we do, folks, and that's why we seek your support.
That's right. And, this is an area that a lot of us who've been doing this a long time, we're very clear about what needs to be done. He needs to take care of the problem. But there's so much confusion about, well, is pornography really that bad? Yes, it really is. So do whatever it takes for you to heal, so that then, you're not going to put up with this. But if you have had it in your life, you're traumatized by it. If he has been unfaithful in that way, we want to help you either way, to either do some things differently or just to heal that deep wound that's within you. What else do you have to share with us here today, Larry?
It's a twofer. I want these ladies to come and sign up for this workshop online this weekend. It will make a difference in your lives. And I want you folks that maybe you don't need to come to this, maybe you do, But if you could support New Life, this is what happens when people engage with us. Before, she just didn't know what life was going to be. Now she knows there's a purpose, and she is on fire to make life better. So help us, please.
One of the great things about Shelley Martinkus is she and her husband have been through this.
Amen.
Jason Martinkus, who teaches the men's Every Man's Battle, they're a husband and wife duo. They know what it feels like on both ends of this betrayal problem that is rampant in our society. And Shelley can talk about how she felt as a female, as a wife, and the trauma that does to a person. And so I can't recommend it enough. You know, whether your husband wants to work on himself or not, need to be at this. It'll really invigorate you and rejuvenate you and give you a feeling. I like how that person said, I have sisters.
Yeah.
You know, I have a family now that gets
does.
what I'm going through. And it's a beautiful thing.
And we've never made it easier. Online, Zoom, and you'll find the sisterhood even there. It's amazing. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. Please call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and also just support us so we can continue to do this. If you join Club New Life, I'll send you the Transformation Welcome Kit, which is a life recovery Bible, a workbook, and a journal, plus 4 other workbooks dealing with grief, eating disorders, sexual integrity, and divorce. All our way of saying thank you for a $30 a month gift. Now, let's go back to our phones and let's talk with Jack from Okemos, Michigan, WLCM. Hi, Jack. How are you today?
Oh, I'm a little better than I was. Thanks for turning my call. And I come from a family. I take care of my dad. He's got dementia, Alzheimer's, and he's entering his last years. And it's really hard to communicate anyways. And my sister and me don't get along. And the only reason we would even see each other is for her coming out here. And try to make it cordial and everything. But every time, or most of the time, a lot of times it comes over and something's said, and there's sibling rivalry. She's older, so that tells me to tell you something. She's always got a thumb over me. And I always take it, but then she'll say something, and it baits me in, even though I'm aware of it. Anyways, and then I say something that she did, and then she walks away because she doesn't know how to handle it, and she goes to her car, or she's taken off, and texts me a bunch of nasty stuff, tells her husband calls me, and I don't answer the phone, but I see he called, and I listen to part of the message, and it's cussing and calling me this and calling me that, and all distorted stuff he's taken. If she's telling him what he's telling me, it's all lies. Now I got to paraphrase that I was an addict and a alcoholic till 9 years ago, and I had all that.
So what's the question for us, buddy? How can we help you? What are you specifically?
Okay, I'm getting to that. Should I call, which is a habit of mine, and call and apologizing just to keep the harmony? How do I approach back to them, or should I? I know it says do not return fools with folly. Do not return words. I don't know. I'm flooded with scripture in my head coming at me like God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And I don't know how.
Okay, what is the question though? What's the question specifically for us?
How do I respond in this situation?
Okay, all right, we can help you with that. Milan, you want to get us started here on how does he specifically respond in this situation?
Well, Jack, it's a great question, and what's important also is that you indicated that up until 6 some odd years ago, you had a problem with addictions as well, which means your entire family system was probably, and I don't know about your sister, but the whole family system was struggling. The whole family system had pain. And as a result, the whole family system, or at least you, had to medicate yourself to deal with what was upon you. So Does that mean if a person is then sober or they become a Christian that they're going to know how to talk to each other, or people will automatically become less reactive? No. Of course, we want people to be saved. Here's the deal. What we've shown is that you and your sister can't have a conversation together. So what you need to do is pull together an arbiter of some sort, a family therapist that could sit down and help you have a conversation in a world that is impossible for you and your sister to have. She has levels of reactivity, so do you, and it's almost like they're on autopilot, from the two of you. You don't know what to do except say, well, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? And it's kind of back to that place. So I would get a marriage and family counselor. I would invite her and I would say, look, we have a dad that we have to mutually care for. And so let's figure out how to do it better. And I personally, whether it is a highly skilled pastor or a highly skilled therapist, somebody that can help you understand that there's a history of hurt and pain in this family, and that you guys are going to have to work hard to learn to overcome it. Yes, I like your idea of reaching back out to her, but not necessarily for an apology or with an apology. Perhaps that's been your mode for years, which is I apologize first, and then that's how we get things going back together again. I would start in a different place. We got a problem, and, we need to learn to communicate with one another. Why don't we get some help?
Jack, I imagine that you have learned to be a peacekeeper.
Yep.
And so you give an apology that at times is disingenuous on your part, but it probably does work to keep the peace for a short time. And we want to redirect you into being a peacemaker and not a peacekeeper. So, of course, apologize for what is truly your part. You're able to confess here to us. You're reactive. You try to hold your tongue, but eventually you get pushed past the edge. So acknowledging that to your sister, I am reactive. And I was an alcoholic for so long, and I know that caused us a lot of harm and damage. I'm working on that. Those are my problems. But I also feel angry, I feel hurt, I feel upset when you and your husband do X, Y, and Z, and I need to ask for a change on your part. And then, Jack, if they aren't willing to and they continue to be perhaps abusive to you, verbally abusive, then you decide what you're going to do to protect yourself when they engage in those behaviors. So I'm not gonna call you back when you leave those abusive messages, or I am going to hang up, or I'm going to ask you to step out, or I'll step out of the room when this starts happening again, because I'm not willing to participate in that any longer, and I've been wrong in my reactivity. So I'm asking for a change, and I'm also working on making a change.
Well, I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this, but I think this new approach could be good for you.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realized that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, June 20th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly. and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and Going Deeper is at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. I'd love you to join. Just go to thenewlife.com. It'll take you there. If you're a narcissist, please tune in. If you know one, tell them to tune in. Or if you live with one, it might help also. Our final caller is Jeffrey from Jacksonville, Florida. Really glad that you called. And Jeffrey, you're on with Steve, Alice, and Milan.
Hi, Steve. Everybody else told you happy birthday, so I guess I need to, too. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
believe my question is probably directed toward Miss Allison there. My daughter is 14 years old, and me and my wife's having a discrepancy about her getting a piercing in her belly button and tattoos now. Well, of course, I told my daughter how I felt like it, and we talked about it, and I gave her some scripture through Corinthians about, the body being the temple and, stuff like that. But nothing seemed to get through, and by the time I got home in a few days, work and everything else, she already had a piercing in her belly button and was bragging about how she can wear a shirt short now and everybody looks and this and that. Tried to explain to her about, older men and stuff like that and how it's not the way you want to go. She's so innocent, she doesn't understand, and I don't know how to approach her without making her go away from me, I guess you can say. And it's hard to explain. She's half Filipino, tan, blonde hair, and blue eyes. She's so gorgeous to everybody. The room lights up when she comes in. But she's so innocent, she don't understand that getting this tattoo and already having the piercing now, and her mama says it's okay.
And Jeffrey, how do your conversations, how do they go with your wife when you bring your concerns to her? How does she respond to you?
The same thing she does with like watching rated R movies and scenes on there that I even close my eyes to because I don't watch them with them. I say I don't believe in that, and I say, Jen, listen, that's not a good idea. She goes, well, my daddy let me watch it and I'm okay. And I go, well, baby, it's not a good idea for her, I've raised two other ones that are grown. One I raised alone. Her mother left when she was 3 weeks old, and I've had her ever since. And I tried to explain to her this is not a good thing. At 14 years old, she's not of age yet. And we need to be the ones to tell her right from wrong. And Jen just keeps saying, well, she can do what she wants to. I did what I wanted to, and I'm okay. So I don't know how to approach it anymore with Genesis.
Jeffrey, how would it be for you to... Jeffrey, how would it be for you to take a stronger stance of what you will and will not allow in your home, rather than suggestions or just expressing what you want? How do you feel imagining taking a stronger stance, and how do you think your wife would react?
I already did that, and even without raising my voice, I just said there's some things I allow and some things I won't. And she left several months ago, so now we're separated. Still friends, still everything's okay. The older ones are still here on the goat farm. We live way out in the woods.
So wait, Jeffrey, that when you took that stronger stance with your wife, the mother of this 14-year-old, your wife left and is not in the house with you?
No. She just did not understand that there's right from wrong. And not even a year ago, she started trying to go back to church and get baptized and all that all in one day, and it'd take her 3 hours to get ready and dress nice, but she'd have a big bag of chips and a 44-ounce drink when the preacher started talking. I just couldn't be there. I just said, baby, you can't stare at your phone, eat chips, and do a 44-ounce drink while the preacher's talking. You have to look and listen. That's why we're here.
Jeffrey?
She doesn't understand that.
Jeffrey. So...
Yes, sir.
Look, I had two teenage daughters, and they're now adult women, and I had two sons. They're now adult men. And
right.
What's important is, unfortunately, is this person you're referring to as Jen, is this the mother of the daughter you're talking about?
Yes, this is Jen's mother.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, unfortunately... what has happened is for whatever reason, you married someone with an entirely different set of values than you have.
Yeah, I'm finding that out about 17 years in.
Yes, you are 17 years in. You're finding out really what's going on. And this kind of speaks to something we all need to do, which is we need to really better understand who the people are we're saying, I do to. Because you find these things out a lot of times in parenting. As children pass through various stages, parents show who they are at various stages that children progress through. And what your wife is showing us is she's probably 14 too on the inside. And so what Alice...
Yeah, Genesis she's ashamed to even talk to me about it now.
Well,
she's already had it done. If she was so proud and everything else, and now she's even ashamed to talk about it. What I'm saying is I don't know how to approach her without pushing her away. That's
Jeff,
why I was asking Allison, but I see what you're saying.
What I'm saying is you have to decide what it is you want and what's healthy, and insist, as Alice has said, that this is what is going to be true in our home until our children turn 18 years old. You have to decide that. Even if everybody decides to leave you, Joshua, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. Now, this isn't a great idea for a 14-year-old girl who's beautiful and innocent, and for everybody to be looking at her, and for her to notice that people look at her, and for her then to desire people looking at her. That's a formula for disaster, Jeffrey.
Lifestyle, yes.
Absolutely.
So you have every right, Jeffrey, to be concerned and to set these firm boundaries for the protection of your daughter. And it is so hard that you're working against her mother to hold these. So the best way to try to maintain connection with your daughter, because she will rebel, most likely, against the rules, is to invite her into conversation about how your rules affect her. And make sure to label it all with the love and the care that you have for her. But Genesis, I know this is upsetting to you, and it's confusing that Dad says one thing and Mom says another. So how do my rules affect you? How does my concern for you affect you? And become a good listener of Genesis. Draw out her heart while maintaining those appropriate rules that you're trying to set and keep in your house.
And one thing that I think is really essential in your messaging, and my wife has really helped me hone this. This isn't about, you don't help her because the way other old men think or the way boys think. Although Milan and I, we've had those discussions with our girls. We want them to know about that. But more importantly, you want her to value herself and not do things that call attention to the physical body when there's so much rich inside of her, so much beauty that's there. You want her to see that you're interested in her feeling good about herself, being valued by God and herself, that she really has an opportunity to create something here. And when she does that, she will not want attention, whether it's innocent attention or not. And this is one of those situations where whatever you can do to bridge some kind of communication and acceptance between you and her mother, that's the direction to go. That's what you need to be doing, because man, it's just a nightmare to me to find out all of this stuff going, tattoos, pierced belly buttons at age 14. So I would really see it as serious, and the value of this little girl so strong that you want to do something you never maybe even thought about you would need to do. So sorry, we're out of time, everybody. Just want to remind you, we need your help. And I'm asking you to give $18 in honor of my June 18th birthday versus, something over 60. Anyway, also this Saturday, Restore. Go to Restore. Oh, my goodness. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Help us if you can. And then sign up for Every Man's Battle, June the 27th. Thank you. God bless you. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.